Alright, in this video I am going to talk about all of the beginning and general ideas behind area. So area is talking about, say, covering an object. Okay, so the way I like to think about area is, if I have a swimming pool, how big do I have to make my pool cover so that it covers the whole pool? That would be the area. So we have a bunch of different shapes here that you may have to work with. These are kind of the basic general shapes, or what I like to consider the starter shapes. First and foremost is your rectangle or square, where we're doing simply length times width. Your triangle is going to be 1/2 base times height. A parallelogram is essentially a rectangle that's been pushed. Therefore, you would do base times height. So base would be, say, the length of the base, but height is going to be a perpendicular measure that goes from the top of your parallelogram straight down to the bottom. A trapezoid is essentially a rectangle where the two sides have been pushed towards each other. So you would do 1/2 height times b plus c, where b plus c is representing the top and the bottom of your trapezoid. In other words, the parallel pieces. And then we have a circle. So to find the area of a circle, we would have pi times the radius squared. And in most cases, pi is going to be 3.14, okay, in general. Now, when we're dealing with pi, a lot of times you have to pay attention and look at what your problem says. Pi is one of those decimals that is never ending. It's got an infinite amount of values. And so when we're talking about using pi, you have to know how many decimals your problem is actually referring to. So pay very close attention to those ideas. Now, with that, in this problem, we just simply want to find the area of each of these figures. So if we look at this first figure, this is a rectangle. So to find its area says we have to do length times width. So in this case, that's going to be 7 times 2.75, and this is feet. Therefore, the area of my rectangle here is going to be 19.25, and because this is feet, we would end up doing feet squared. Since both of them is feet, feet times feet means we have 2 of them. Now, this next one is a triangle, so in this case, remember the area of your triangle is going to be 1/2 base times height. So here this would be 1/2 times 7 times 5, and this is going to be inches squared. So in this case we would end up with 17.5 inches squared. This last one down here is a trapezoid, so again here its area would be 1/2 height times b plus c. So we have to look at what exactly does that mean. So let's go ahead and do a little bit of labeling here. So this vertical dotted line that you can see that runs right here, this is going to be your height. The small is what I usually consider to be b, whereas the large would end up being c. Okay, so b plus c is talking about the two parallel pieces, and you're adding them together. So in this case we would have 1/2 times 3 times 10 plus 15, and this would be centimeters squared. So in this case we would end up with 37.5 centimeters squared. Alright, let's continue. In this one, notice this one is a parallelogram, and so when we're talking about parallelograms, your area is going to be base times height. So again, let's do a little bit of labeling here. Your base is going to be the part of the shape that you have, so this is your base, whereas your height again is going to be this vertical line here that drops straight down, so this is going to be your height. So in this case, we're going to be doing 16 times 8, and this is going to be inches squared. So when we multiply that together, we end up with 128 inches squared. Now, another thing that we can do is we can do two shapes together. And so here, notice we're going to have this trapezoid added onto the rectangle, so we have to do them each by themselves. The easy one is obviously going to be the area of the rectangle. And so here we know that this is length times width, so therefore we would do 10 times 5, which in this case is going to be 50 kilometers squared. Now, the other piece that we have to do is we have to find the area of the trapezoid. Again, the area of the trapezoid is going to be 1/2 height times b plus c. So again, if we take a look at it, the vertical is your height, the small is your top, the large is your bottom, b plus c. So in this case, we're going to do 1/2 times 4 times 6 plus 10. Now, some students say, wait a second, how do you know that it's 10? I know it's 10 because of this right here. If this length is 10, then it means the same for this length up there. It is also 10 kilometers. So in this case, we end up with a trapezoid having 32 kilometers squared. So we have to have a total area, which is going to be the combined areas, so 50 plus my 32 is going to give me a total of 82 kilometers squared. And so that is how you would attack a problem when you have multiple shapes. You would find the area of each and then add them together. Now this next shape here, notice I am missing a part out of it. And so what we can do is we can actually do what's called like manipulating. So we could drop in this this dotted line here, which changes this into two rectangles. We could call this A and we could call this B. So what we do is we need to find the area for both. So we're going to find the area for A, which again is going to be length times width. So in this case, this is going to be 12 times 25. So when we multiply those together, we end up with 300 centimeters squared. And then we need to find the area of B. And so to do that, we kind of have to know part of B. Well, we've got this piece right here. So this piece right here that we can calculate. So in order to find this measure, we have to take the whole. So we know the whole is the 28 centimeters, and we need to subtract away the part we know, which is 12. So this is going to leave us with 16 centimeters as this measure. Therefore, to find area B, we would do 10 times the 16 we just calculated, which is going to give us 160 centimeters squared. So my total area is going to be the 300 plus that 160, which gives me a total area of 460 centimeters squared. Okay, let's look at some more. Alright, this next one says we need to find the area of the figure. So what we're talking about is we are talking about the shaded region. So what's important to note here is that the figure is the color region. So what we have to do is find the area of the big circle and subtract out the area of the little circle to get the actual area of the shaded region. And here notice we're using 3.14. So let's go ahead and call this circle A, and let's call this circle B. So to find the area of A says we have to do pi r squared. So in this case we're going to do 3.14 times, I'm looking at A, so A is going to be this big radius, which is 70 meters, and we have to square it. When we do that, we come out with 15,386 meters squared. Now we need to find the area of B. Again, it's going to be the same, pi r squared, so we're going to have 3.14 times the smaller 50 squared, which this is going to give us 7,850 meters squared. This means my total area is found by taking my larger 15,386 and subtracting away the smaller 7,850. So this gives me a total of 7,536 meters squared as my area. Alright, let's keep going. So here we need to find the shape or area again, and notice I have two different shapes. I have part of a circle and I have a triangle. So the first thing that I would do is I would find the area of your triangle, which is going to be 1/2 base times height. So in this case I have 1/2 times a base of 10 times a height of 12, which is going to give me an area of 60 feet squared. And now I need to find the area of a semicircle. To find an area of a semicircle says we're going to take our area, so pi r squared, and in this case divide it by 2. So in order to do that, says we're going to take 3.14 times my radius. Now if the diameter is 10, okay, so notice your diameter is 10, that means your radius equals 10 divided by 2, which gives you 5 feet. So here we're going to do 5 squared and we're going to divide this by 2. So my semicircle is going to come out to being 39.25 feet squared, which means just like before, we just simply have to combine them together. So my total is going to be 60 plus the 39.25, which gives me a total of 99.25 feet squared. Now to find the area of the shaded region here, says again we have to find the area of the rectangle and subtract out the area of the triangle. So here when we're looking at the area of the rectangle, we are looking at 17 times 11, which in this case is going to give us 187 kilometers squared. Then we need to find the area of the triangle, which is going to be the 1/2 base times height. So in this case, again, 1/2, a base of 9, times the height of 8, which gives my triangle 36 kilometers squared. Thus, I have a total area of the 187, subtract away the 36, leaves me with 151 kilometers squared as your area. Alright, so last, let's go ahead and put this together in terms of an application problem. Here we're told that the floor in Terry's attic is 24 by 35 feet. How many square feet of insulation is needed to cover it? So here this is the same as thinking that we have 24 by 35 in the rectangle. Now, I'll have you know, most problems don't give you the rectangles themselves. I would go ahead and make sure that you draw it. But simply to find your area, says I'm going to take that 24, multiply by my 35, gives me feet squared. So my area here is going to be 840 feet squared. Alright, last I have, if there's a trapezoid patio with a square opening for flowers to be constructed, the parallel sides of the trapezoid are 12 feet and 9 feet. So that means I have 12 feet on the big side, 9 feet on the small side. And it says with a height of 15, so I have 15 feet as my height here. And each side of the square cut out is 3 feet. So here I have 3 feet by 3 feet. What is the area of the concrete surface? So the first thing I need to do is I need to know the area of the square. Which is going to be 3 times 3, which equals 9. And this is feet squared. The second is I need to know the area of my trapezoid. Again, 1/2 height times b plus c. So this is going to be 1/2 times 15 times 9 plus 12. So all told, we are going to end up with 157.5 feet squared. So your total is going to come from taking that 157.5, subtracting out the 9 feet for your flowers, which is going to leave behind 148.5 feet squared of concrete. Now the last part says that the charge to pour and finish is $9.50 per square foot. What will it cost? So that simply says you're going to take that 148.5 square foot. We're going to multiply that by the cost, which was $9.50 per square foot. And that is going to give you a total cost of $1,410.75. So, in a long-winded nutshell, that is everything that you need to know to get started with working with the basics of area. If you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed. Remember to be creative, and I'll see you next time.